Most of us have heard that being in a relationship makes people happier, but that idea has been under debate for years. A new study published in Social Psychological and Personality Science suggests there might be some truth to it, but with a twist. Their research indicates that entering and staying in a romantic relationship can lead to modest improvements in well-being, especially in areas closely tied to having a partner, like sexual satisfaction and loneliness. The researchers followed more than 3,000 single adults over 6 months. Everyone started the study single, and by the end, some had begun new relationships, some had broken up, and others stayed single. The team wanted to know, does becoming partnered actually cause people to feel better, or are happier people simply more likely to find partners? To tease this apart, they used a statistical technique called propensity score weighting. That method helps balance the groups so they're more comparable, almost like a natural experiment. The results were interesting. People who entered and stayed in a relationship reported feeling better overall, especially in domains directly connected to having a partner. Their sexual satisfaction went up, they felt less lonely, and they were more pleased with their relationship status. The effects were strongest for men and for people who had wanted to be in a relationship from the start. Life satisfaction, how happy people felt with their lives overall, did rise a bit, but not dramatically. The researchers say that makes sense. Getting into a relationship might boost certain areas of life, but it doesn't automatically fix stress at work or family problems. It's a targeted kind of improvement, not a total transformation. People who started a relationship but then broke up didn't see the same benefits. Their well-being looked about the same as those who stayed single, and sometimes even dropped, especially when it came to how happy they were with their relationship status. Meanwhile, people who remained single showed little change across the board, suggesting that being single itself is a pretty stable state for well-being, at least in the short term. The gains from partnership also weren't universal. Men reported stronger boosts in life satisfaction and relationship satisfaction than women did. And while those who wanted a relationship saw the biggest improvements, even people who weren't especially eager to partner still tended to feel less lonely and more sexually satisfied once they did. Jeff MacDonald, a professor at the University of Toronto and one of the study's authors, explained that many past studies only looked at people transitioning from dating to marriage, not from single to dating. This study focused on that earlier shift, the point where someone first moves from being single into a new romantic connection. That's often when the biggest emotional changes happen. MacDonald and his team also emphasized that relationships can add value in specific areas of life, but they aren't a cure-all. People might gain intimacy and emotional support, but also lose time for friends or hobbies. In fact, his earlier research found that people's satisfaction with their work-life balance tends to decline once they get into a relationship. The trade-offs are real. Importantly, the researchers note that this study doesn't prove that romantic relationships directly cause higher well-being in every case. While they used methods to control for many factors, they couldn't measure everything. Personality traits, values, and social environments could also influence both relationship status and happiness. Another caveat is timing. The study only followed people for 6 months, meaning the early boost might fade as relationships settle into routine. Other research has shown that satisfaction in long-term relationships often declines over time. Future studies will need to track people longer to see whether these early improvements last, or whether single individuals eventually catch up in other ways. Still, this study provides solid evidence that getting into a romantic relationship can genuinely lift certain parts of well-being, rather than just reflect who tends to pair up. For many people, especially those who've been longing for connection, partnering seems to bring meaningful benefits, even if those benefits are domain-specific and sometimes temporary. The takeaway isn't that everyone should seek a relationship. The researchers stress that well-being gains depend on the person and the quality of the relationship itself. Some people thrive on independence and may not experience these same boosts. But on average, being in a healthy, lasting relationship appears to nudge happiness upward, at least for a while. For more details on this study and others like it, you can read the full article on scipost.org.